Life is interesting. It's full of twists and turns and things that we know and things that we don't know. And when we are on this path of self-growth and self-discovery, and we are stepping into and continuing to deepen what it means to know ourselves and to own our power and to align with our divinity, align to our highest timelines, and to really trust our intuition, life gives us opportunities to be able to deepen that understanding. I was working with a client recently in one of my programs, and one of her feedback so I have a program called 7 Weeks of Magic, and her, what is it called? Her perspective, her reflections on her experience in that program, one of the things that she shared is that work that we did together was a deepening of things she had already learned at different points in her journey, and it was a way to bring it more into her experience and understand it and to be able to navigate it from a different perspective. Because a lot of the work we do in that program is with energy and energetics and moving out of the logical mind and into the flow of life. And so I share that because let me do this first. So I was asking the record keepers about I was debating on which way to enter this, but I was asking them about what does it mean? What does embodiment mean? What does it mean when we're embodying? So many people talk about embodiment. What do we need to know that can help us move forward in our journey? And what they shared with me was that the way that the energy flows, and remember, this is one perspective, not the perspective. This is one entry point into this information to help you deepen your understanding. So what they shared is that it goes from knowledge to wisdom to embodiment. And so they gave me visuals with this, and I'm a stick figure drawer, so it was like, okay, I got the stick figure. So knowledge comes in at the mind. This is happening here on YouTube, podcasts, learning, school, courses, programs, even channeled messages that I have done or others have done about different concepts about life in the world. The things hit us right here in our head, and they come in as knowledge. And so in this stage, some of the things we'll say is we'll be like, yes, I get it. Aha, that makes sense. This is when a lot of us who are extremely intellectual, and perhaps some of us who are overthinkers or overanalyzers or overcomplicators of things, we understand things. And that's why a lot of times in this space, when we hear things, it makes sense, it's crystal clear, and then it's like, oh, but why am I not doing it? Or, one common thing that people say to me before they come into my programs is they're in a space where they're logically trying to figure things out with their brain, and they understand energetics, they understand the spiritual world, and perhaps they even have aspects of their life where they are applying things from a place of flow and intuition and being with the energy of things. And the thing is there's a point based on my world and the work I do, because I can't possibly talk about everything, but there's a point in this journey where someone or many people hit this point where they're like, I cannot keep trying to solve this with my mind. Mindset things aren't working, logical things aren't working. I'm hiring coach after coach, program after program that makes logical sense, but I'm just not doing it. And really that's the opportunity where we're able to drop more in to the body and into the intuition and trusting ourselves and trusting our intuition. So when we move from that place of knowledge and we move into integration, this is the place where it moves into the heart. And in this area, the things that are common around this is we're able to use our discernment, because not everything that we hear is going to apply to us or going to apply to us right now at this moment in our life. And so we use our discernment to filter through those things, to be able to get even deeper down, to get closer into that space where now we're connecting with our heart. So in that space in our heart, that's where we can access our intuition, we can access, and even as we get more down into the body, we can access our intuition, we can access like our heart space and being able to connect with that from a grounded space and not necessarily up here. Quick side note, here recently I experienced this for myself because yes, hello, if you haven't heard already, some of us who teach these things and are meant to guide these things, we also go through this over and over and over and over again. So I get to go through these things and experiencing them in what feels like the most like deep and profound and sometimes annoying ways, because then I'm more able to have this like first-hand experience, not only in my lived experience with my frustration, but also with my level of awareness I have now to be able to hold space for like what is happening as well as my human experience going through it. And one of the areas that I have been recently challenged is when it relates to business, because I have the knowledge. I've invested probably $50,000 in coaching and programs and education over the last like 15, 20 years of my personal development and my own like growth journey. And so I have the knowledge. Not only do I have the knowledge from all those things that I've invested in, I'm smart like you. I'm able to watch things, pick up on things. I also have, I spent some time in corporate sales, so I learned things from that. And so living life as an intuitive in my business, I hadn't fully moved that energy from my head into my heart. There are absolutely places that I have, and there's still some places that this shows up. And this has been so present for me in these past few days, weeks, months, because my mind wants to run the show. My logic, my knowledge wants to be able to apply that knowledge into strategies, just like yours does. Your mind wants to apply the strategies and the things that you understand into your life because they make sense. And guess what? Sometimes this is going to work and our knowledge is able to apply into our life and it's so perfect, it's great. I'm talking about when we're moving into these places of embodiment, because as much as we can know something, those of us who are meant to be leaders, those of us who are stepping into our power and leading others into their truth, it's important for us to really fully embody so many things. This is one aspect. So back into it. Thoughts, knowledge, applying towards strategy. And finding myself extremely frustrated when I would have these conversations. Information and ideas would come and I would resist them. I realized that my energy was up here and I needed to move it down here and use this middle ground of discernment to bring it down into my heart from an integration standpoint and match the frequency in my heart to the information that's being provided, as well as come down into my heart with my energy and be able to use that to drive the conversation, to drive the experience versus my head and my logic driving the experience. Does this make sense? Okay. So we go from knowledge to integration, the mind to the heart, down into embodiment. And this is where we get, like this is all of us, but if I'm going to keep it in the body here, this is where we get down in the solar plexus. And so when we bring it down into embodiment, this is the space between those two is the practice, is continuing with the integration and the tools to where these things that move down this channel are now who you are. Sticking with my example, there will be a time, so right now I'm moving from knowledge into integration. And as I go from integration, I continue to practice this discernment and practice coming from the heart space with this information and this stuff that I know I'm coming from this space. This is going to become who I am. And yes, there will be other things come up because I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect, although a lot of times we expect ourselves to be, especially those of us A-type perfectionist type people. The thing is as that becomes more, there will be a time when that, like the business way that I deal with things, The first jump reaction is not from the mind and the strategy and trying to solve it. It is from who I am. This is just who you are. This process can also happen quickly, and it can also happen in a non-linear way. Sometimes there's information that we receive that comes right in. You're already in the integration stage. You're already able to match that. And then you can move quickly into embodiment with a slight amount of practice, and you're there. Or perhaps there's something that was activated in your energetic cells and in your energetic body and from a spiritual perspective where you remember and it comes online right then. I am open to any and all possibilities, and I'm providing a bit of a framework for those of us who may still be a bit in the logical mind, or maybe we've moved into when we're kind of hanging out between these two, to be able to really bring it all the way in. Know that you're not alone. You're absolutely not alone. And if you are sick and tired of like hiring coach after coach or buying thing after thing, hoping that this will be the thing, even if that's not what you say, because maybe you've moved past that and you're like, yes, it's so in alignment, I'm ready. And then you find and you get it again and you're like, shit, like I just want to trust the universe. Like I just want to like be in the flow. I just want to be able to like not overthink everything. Yeah, I get it. Me too. Me too. And this is what I've been guiding people through, and this is what I do regularly and practice in my own life. And as I'm sharing with you, literally going through it right now. Let's see what else is here to share today for today's little vlog podcast episode. Oh, all right, let's talk about that. So the second thing that I want to talk about today is with the example I just gave you, with like being in the strategy and being in that space. I was also really attaching and being attached to like outcomes and results and making sure it works and making sure my time is used beneficially. While those are all very important things, one thing for us to remember is that, once again, it's the energy coming from the heart or from the brain. And so I shared that because I have been talking for a while that I was going to restart Soul Activations podcast. And I have been a bit in perfectionism zone because there's only one of me right now. I don't have a team yet supporting me, and so I am doing all the things. And I was trying to take on too much, and it was a bit, well, I was starting to share that one of the reasons why I haven't really shown up is because of being in that mind space and wanting things to be perfect. And I've been coming into this realization there's only one of me, and I am going to do what is in flow and what makes sense. And so this is an example of me showing up and doing that and taking imperfect action and coming here and providing value and sharing different things. I love doing things in nature. And so I haven't fully decided. We'll see where this ends up. If this ends up just straight up on my YouTube channel, or if this ends up being one of my like comeback episodes on the Soul Activations podcast. And as I said that, I felt that in my gut. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So welcome back to the Soul Activations podcast. I'm excited that you are here along for the journey, and I will be doing more episodes. Yeah, let's go ahead and claim it. And they're going to happen in flow, and I'm going to show up, and I'm going to have amazing information. My goal is I do want to have, like guests on, share channel messages, and do different things. And I really want it to be a fun experience and something of value. So welcome. Welcome back. Welcome here. I'm so excited you're here. And, I don't know, just pop some love in the comments. I'd appreciate it, because doing this on your own, it's always great to hear those who you're impacting. I'd love to connect with you. And if you want to stay in touch with me between videos and you'd like to hang out outside of this platform, then go to my website, Jenny, Jeni, Holla, HOLLA.com. You can get all the information there, and you can sign up for my newsletter. You'll get a welcome channel message, and I send out channel messages there. So if you like them in written fashion, that would be a great way to come on into the community and hang out. I would love to have you there. And until next time, let's see what cool background is on a future episode. Bye.